The live stream is on, yeah? Perfect. That's the best way to start the live stream with asking to be sure. So hello participants here and on Zoom and on the Facebook or those who are watching later in the recording. So today's topic is about competition poster design. We will be talking mainly specifically about 3D concrete competition, but of course some of the information we are sharing is applicable to also other posters, because this is not a unique poster, it's just a poster. Otherwise, what we are covering today, and I hope you can see my screen, is first the data and legibility. That's for this competition. The composition of the information, how you arrange it, and the software you can use to design posters, and what are the pluses and minuses. I probably have to warn you that this is super introductory meetup, so the idea here is not to go extremely deep, and we have a varying amount of knowledge among participants and people, because we have some teams who are architects and they probably should be able to design a poster already. And then there are some teams who are more design oriented and probably have worked with the design software, but not in a poster specifically, or maybe more digitally. We can probably go quickly through with some of you who are right now connecting. I will ask for those who have the camera on, if you wish to share. The idea of this is to kind of establish roughly how knowledgeable you are about poster design. Have you done it before? So maybe I can skip something, or maybe you already have a question for me or something you want to hear covered. My own journey with poster design hasn't been that long, although they always have been near near me. If that can be said, I can show some of the examples. Of course, I did have to do a lot of posters when I was studying architecture, and some of them were more technical, some of them were more artful. And currently I have to do a lot of them for kind of science and research stuff. Here we go. And the software I personally use is mostly Indesign and Figma, and I will later tell you why it's a good and bad idea to use Figma. I really try to avoid using Photoshop, but we can cover that too a bit. And yeah, that's me. So I did a quick introduction myself to show you how to do it. And so yes, my previous experience has been designing posters for exhibitions, conferences, and architectural projects. And we have Andra here with the camera, Evie and Emils. And if anyone else of you is ready to share a bit of information, what's your experience with the poster design, you're super welcome to do that. Otherwise, we will move forward. So Andra, you're first, then Evie, then Emils. And if someone else switches on the camera, we can also go through there. Oh, we have Yuris here. Cheers, Yuris.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, I'll then go ahead. My name is Andra. I study architecture and I have used InDesign before. I think it's my favorite tool. I also used Photoshop, but then I realized InDesign is more convenient. And for inspiration, I usually look in Pinterest and like these layouts, like how to put things together. And then from that, I usually make my own layouts.
Yeah, great. Evie?
So yeah, my name is Evia. So I'm studying landscape architecture, and my previous experience with the poster designing has been just for school, making 2 posters in Photoshop, and that's all. Like I don't have that much huge experience. Yeah.
Okay, that's really good to know that we have a lot of people who work in Photoshop here. We have a solution for you too. And Emils, you're the last in the people who are willing to turn on the camera here.
Yeah, hey everyone. So yeah, my name is Matijs. I basically work as a designer in a company, and I haven't done a lot of posters, but actually I have created like 5 of them. So it was like, for me, it was in high school, a few posters, and then I have helped other people for scientific posters. Yeah, I used to use also Photoshop and Illustrator, but if I would have to design a poster now, I would definitely go with Figma, as that's like my main tool that I use in my work, and kind of feel really comfortable with it. And I think it's really powerful for something like this as well.
Yeah, one thing when I prepared this quick meetup, I actually saw a lot of similarity with designing a web page and designing a poster, because the way how you arrange information, the elements you use for structure, legibility, hierarchy, and visibility of elements is quite similar. And what is really nice with Figma, that it is a software that is mainly used for digital content, but I actually copied just a lot of elements when I do posters, and I already have a start. One of the issues with Figma is that sometimes it exports PDF weirdly, and there are some plugins that can help with that. But what I really love Figma about, is especially if you're working with clients, etc., it's really easy to share the product. For example, here I did one poster for an exhibition outdoors. We actually did like how long a person will be to the scale, how the posters will look like, and then everyone can write the comments in the section, and then we can write up here like every date, okay, this is the first iteration, but we remember what we taught and did there, and then we create like, I don't know, the third and fourth and 10th iteration, and each time we can go back and be like, hey, what was good and bad there, for example. So that's also something that if you work in a team, especially during COVID right now, it's really a bit harder to share it in real time on InDesign. Then you have to do a call or something like that. For those of you who haven't used InDesign software before, and basically it means that here you design, you don't really create design assets. You can use text, of course, but you have these windows where you can just import any image you want. For example, I will just press Ctrl D, and let's see if we have an image here. You can actually use one of your designs. We don't have them in this folder here. Oh, we have them here. Let's see. Let's make a poster for example, this theme has something that is a bit posterable. We import it, and here we can scale it in the view frame, which basically means that it will not go out. But I will do a bit more cover on these topics a bit later. I think first I will go through the main requirements for this competition. And then we can talk about software itself, because for some people who already know everything there is to know about posters, it's quite possible that some of you are even more proficient in them than myself. But I just want to give you the data you need to submit for the poster. We also have Yuris here. Yuri, if you have any comments, definitely feel free to jump in when I will be going through the data that needs to be submitted. So there are two things that we will need to submit when we finish the competition. One of these is for media, so basically publications, etc. And there we need 1600 pixel wide main picture, an optional 2 or 3 extra pictures. So you can provide them if you want. If you don't want, you can skip that part. And then there is text, which is basically 3 to 6 sentences about your team, 3 to 6 sentences on your idea, and 3 to 6 sentences on assembly or technology you are using. So it's still maybe just one word page, but structured in 3 paragraphs. And for print, I will show you the attachment very soon. We will also upload it to the Miro board. But if you are trying to recreate from your own, although you will not need to, we will send you the templates and you can just put the information in. If you do want to recreate it somewhere else, the margins everywhere is 10 millimeters. The font is Roboto. For publishing the posters online, like I showed you before in ISO, the maximum size we can upload is 29 megabytes. So that's something to keep in mind. Also, we will want to upload the posters to Miro. So that is quite important to remember, that at least one version you submit to us of the poster should be not bigger than 29 megabytes. And here you can see I wrote down that elements 1 to 5 can be rearranged if needed. And I will show what that means. So when we can actually look at it in the InDesign software, it will be easier. So this part here at the top of the poster, and the poster itself, if you're interested, I will also post it somewhere. But the poster itself, the size of the poster is in width 850 millimeters, and in height 1,900, like 1.9 meters. So it will be quite a large poster. exhibition will be in Latvian University and maybe in Riga Technical University, either parallelly or they will travel from one to other. What we are doing right now, some of you already contacted me, this is the draft poster. So you're basically understanding if you have a software that is able, like we did the draft print, we are doing the draft poster. So at least provide information you can, upload it, and we will just see if it prints and if everything is okay. For example, sometimes colors convert super weirdly from some computers. There are SMIC and RGB color spaces and all that, but we will go through that a bit later probably. What is important for the main perspective, we would recommend and really really recommend doing it at 1 meter 600 millimeters height roughly when you position the camera. So it's from a human level, so it's not super low. It will be easier to compare all of the materials. And the size for this picture is, you can see it here, I will not read it, but what's important here, that if you really don't have any design software to use, you can just send us these pictures and we will import them here, and that's all right. If you can rearrange these 1 to 5. So it's really important that we all have the same size main picture and in the same place, and the team name and description is coherent, and also the logo part here in the bottom. For the 5 elements here, you can combine them, you can split them if you feel the need for that. That can be done, but otherwise it would be great if all the posters looked as a set of exhibition, will make it look a bit more professional. And what you need to provide here, so basically the short idea description, you can use the same you made for the media if you want. It's basically describing your idea, why you created like you did. Is there a concept behind it? And then there is this part, which is technical data. For a lot of jury members, this is the most important part. So here we need to provide print volume in cubic meters, assembly description, describing if the which materials additional are required, and also adding draft additional costs that you expect. And are there fixtures required for securing the object to the ground, and also any network connections for electricity, plumbing, or rainwater collection, etc., etc. It will just give University of Latvia information on how to better realize the object you're planning. So that's something that needs to be provided in the final version. Right now, you can put in what you have. If you don't have something, you will at least know what you don't have. So here we have site plan, location. Currently, you can use the scale that you think is appropriate for your object. Later, we will talk with University of Latvia. Maybe for the final print, we will have one scale for all of you. But I think given that the sizes are quite different, it might be that we will leave it up to you. We have assembly scheme, preferably in axonometry. So basically how the object puts together. If there is no need for your object to be put together and it's already just printable, although I think all of you had some assembly required. So it basically shows how the parts fit together. And if they don't fit together, you can just put it in axonometry. So it's viewable from this. For those who don't know what is axonometric view, I will quickly Google it. So I did it. Oh yeah, that was axonometry. Yeah, we can import that.
First example, you put as perspective,
This is
like the first one,
this is
second
axonometric
one.
view.
Some
Yeah,
people
yeah.
already have them, yeah.
So yeah, and how you fill that window is up to you. You can just put one picture like this, or you can put it in steps. So that's completely up to you. So the third panel is front and side views. Probably let's add top 2 front comments. And side views with dimensions. So dimensions is the important part here. And fourth panel is the picture of your 3D printed model. So because not all people will probably be able to see it. So in this case, why it's quite important is just to show this layer height. Maybe in your visualization engine, you will not be able to correctly portray the layer height. So this 3D printed model of a photo gives that opportunity. And also, if you don't like taking pictures of models, or you don't like how it looks in the poster, you can use a photo or screenshot from the slicer, where you basically have these. Although I think the 3D printed one would be preferred because it's something real. And the last part is additional content to communicate your idea, and that's up to you. If you want to put something here, anything that helps maybe Yeah. One idea would be adding extra pictures here from your, because currently you just have a place for one representative picture. That's basically all of the super mandatory information we had to give you today. After that, we will go through some recommendations on the design part, but we can currently ask you if you have any questions. You can ask them either verbally or drop in the chat. We'll try to read them. If not, I will quickly show you where you will be able to find it in a Miro board. Oh, we actually need to move. Also, congratulations on reaching the second stage. Although we did reach it last time, but this is the first official meetup here. And we will put here this link to the poster, to InDesign file, and to a PDF. So basically, if you have InDesign available, you can just open it and put in your information. It will be done. If you don't have InDesign, then you can send us the pictures and we will import them ourselves, or you can try recreating it in Photoshop if you want to. Technically, the PDF that we will export from this should be openable by Photoshop, and then you can kind of crop around. But yeah, with Photoshop, that's the problem. The files get large and it gets complicated and slow, etc. I would recommend if you have anyone in your team who knows how to use InDesign, trying to use it. It's super simple. Like if you have InDesign and you open this file, you just press Ctrl-D and you can import any picture in any frame. And if it doesn't fit it automatically, you can zoom it in, and here you go. You can basically complete the poster if you have the content in 10 minutes, even less. So it's super efficient in that regard. Where we had, yes, questions. Do we have any questions? It looks like we don't. Well, if some of them come up, feel free to always ask. And then we can go through the presentation part further. So for most common mistakes that we see in poster design, probably there are more than 4, but there is some research that it's hard to remember more elements. So one of those is visual consistency and hierarchy. I hope we have helped you a bit here already because we gave you some layouting elements, but that means that if you design a poster, and we can just Google for presentation posters, like just see random stuff. There's nothing more fun than looking for problems in other people's work. Presentation poster.
If you write architecture, it's usually
better. It will be
better.
more representative here.
At least I do it in Pinterest, and also
so you can see
it's really
here
good.
the visual hierarchy. So do you always have to use it? Of course not, but it kind of makes it feel. We do have some lines here if we look at this. So basically we have like this is this one structure, we have this. So on the larger scale, we have quite good hierarchy. And you see there's one that divides in that. But if you look smaller, this part here, for example, gets super weird, like the division lines here are and for complex and large projects, not always can you achieve this, but kind of this division, it starts to get a little bit intense. And it's probably for architects, it looks really great, but for people, and remember that not all in the jury will be architects, it starts to become a little bit hard to read and understand. There is another way, which is probably not also perfect. Those were some really old posters, but we used to do posters where we didn't provide any information at all, just a picture and a short description. So that probably would not be something we are looking in this competition, because you will be actually evaluated from the information that you put in the poster. So in that regard, I wouldn't go that way. But okay, let's cover the other topics. So one of these would be this visual consistency and hierarchy. So basically having elements that logically follow each other. The other one is precision and proportion. It is a little bit related to the first one. It basically means that when you put in information, you use consistent margins. Again, we have already done it here. So there are all of the lines are 1 centimeter currently, and also the middle line here is 1 centimeter. And when you print it and it will get cut, it will be perfectly aligned. So in that regard, every time there is some kind of someone accidentally moves this text somewhere here, now I'm over stressing it, but these little, when you quickly throw stuff together, it sometimes makes it a little bit hard to read, and you don't understand why, but it looks kind of a little bit wrong. But that's probably self-understandable. The third one is rhythm and grids. And that's how you arrange the information. I think I already started to show you some examples on that information. For example, in this case, we don't really have a specific grid. The information is sort of arranged a little bit freely. And in this one, it's even more. It's not this I wanted to show. Yeah. So where we had it. I will quickly open.
Google ones or
Oh no, I think I clicked out. We have to go back one step and then we will have it. Portfolio. Yep, here we go. The newest one. Then here we had the picture arrangement. So it's just one way of arranging things. You can also arrange it completely organically, but I think in this case, because we have a lot of comparable posters, so this is one way you can really see the grid, and it's just orthogonal grid. And here you can see there is not really a grid. There are some elements that have been arranged, but it's not in a grid. For organic shapes, it's sometimes hard to arrange them in a grid, but this grid makes it easier to read. For example, here, if you want to quickly find some information, it's quite hard to orient yourself. Probably not that much because there's not that much information, but if it was as full as this project poster, it would be a bit harder. Okay, that would be about the grids. And another thing that is extremely important in grids, probably I should have started with that. If we go to InDesign, here we go. If you use V letter, you can see these lines that you have created yourself, or you can also in Photoshop by double
I think it's
clicking.
double V.
Yeah, double V, but here we go. Or maybe in this. Okay,
Guidelines.
in Photoshop it worked.
Yeah, here it is.
Here we go.
Yeah, you can.
The guideline is
put
here,
the
and then you can
guidelines.
use them and actually check is everything aligned.
If
So
you want to hide them, you just press double V and
yeah,
it just
it goes
hides
away.
for a moment.
If you press Shift V, you can go full screen. But yeah, I suppose the internet is full with InDesign tutorials, so probably that's not that important. But yeah, it's really an easy software to pick up. If there's something you wanted to start to learn in the new year, then I would really say that InDesign has been such a lifesaver. And the last and most important part is structure and story. So direction, basically, when we read the poster, of course, we follow a logical way of information. So in this case, the story we are telling here is this is the main picture. Then we have the description. This is where it's located. This is how we put it together. Here's some views from it. And here's what we have done so far. And so the proof of concept or the 3D printed model and some additional pictures. And lastly, but not leastly, are the sponsors. We even wrote this kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And in some cases, you still have control here. Of course, is how you arrange information inside the blocks here. So usually we read from left to right and from top to bottom. So all the stuff that you put here is more important. So if you want, you can rearrange those. If you think that the 3D printed model is the most important part of your presentation, you can put it somewhere here. Although we would recommend sticking to this, it will just look better if all the posters, when they are displayed together, look kind of similar. But those 1 to 5, 1 to 4, you can join them together if you want, for example, like this, and you have one big poster or etc. that you can do. But it would be great if we have the grid left intact. From my side, it's almost it. Of course, you could say much more, but and for the story, there's this NUBT methodology. I really like it every time when I'm thinking if I want to convince someone when I'm presenting or pitching an idea, I go to this NUBT methodology, which if you expand, it means need, let's approach, business. But you can use it only also when not selling things. For example, in this case, you are kind of selling your idea, but it also helps just by knowing if you haven't forgotten something. So in this case, what's the need for what you are creating? In our case, it will be this idea or how it serves sitting down or being a shelter. Approach is how you solve this problem. Business is technicalities, how much it costs, etc. In business cases, how much it generates value. In this case, the value would be more perceptual. And the competition, of course, is why your idea is the best, and then that you can prove with some probably use case scenarios or etc. About software, so Figma is free for up to 2 boards if you want to use it. probably use for this case, because the poster is really large and exporting it in PDF would be a bit weird. It's really easy for prototyping. You can just drop the PDF and draw stuff around. It's basically like Photoshop in the internet, but or InDesign in the internet. You can also use these frames. It's really hard to like draw lines in it. So if you have a design software you're using, either SketchUp or ArchiCAD or whatever each of you is using already to participate in competition, definitely continue using that. But for putting stuff together, it's quite easy. You can take pictures, rearrange them in different ways. So we really love working with Figma. And the only probably limitation I would have there is these export options. And if you want to export something, you either create a frame, or sometimes I just select the item itself and just go here, and there appears the export option, and you can change how many times you want to upscale it or what's the resolution. The resolution you can see here, and these are pixels. So basically, given that it's meant for web displaying, even if you upscale 1000 pixels, if you want to print it in 2-3 meters, it's probably not always enough, but you can try it out and see how it fits. And that's why we are doing this test print, given that we have people from different backgrounds who work with different software. So the first test print will probably be just the normal paper, and only the final print will be on Comotex or hardback print. Yeah, we had InDesign. We already showed you a little bit of it. Unfortunately, it's a paid item. You have student discounts available, and you can get 7-day free trial from Adobe. Otherwise, of course, unfortunately, nothing is for free, and the same goes with Photoshop. So in that regard, Andre, how much did it cost? I think you recently bought one. 20, 40, 25 euros. Okay, something like that. But it's a subscription, right?
Yeah, in InDesign subscription is like for students there's some kind of deal, but I think you have to then have it for a year. I just took it for a month, and
Okay.
I will see how it works. Yeah.
Yeah. From the technical information required, maybe if Juris has any questions or added information, so I will just remind you here, or maybe I can copy it out in the presentation. It will be useful for you later. We have written currently that you need to provide volume in cubic meters, assembly description, extra materials required. So this is quite important. And also Maris from Concrete Laboratory really emphasized this. These additional materials means extra costs for University of Latvia. So when they approve your project, they really want to know what extra you're putting in there. So it really has to be clarified that it's not only 3D printed. If you're adding some more materials, there definitely mention that. And also, if your design has this risk of topping over, in which case you probably need some fixtures to secure it to the ground. And lastly, but not leastly, do you need any network connections there, like electricity for lighting or plumbing, or maybe rainwater collection from the surface of the shelter? Otherwise, you have all been super awesome. Thanks for checking in. I think we have almost finished this. We can give you time to work on this. But if you have any questions, then definitely we are here to answer them. And of course, this presentation and the poster files will be available in Miro, and we will also put them in the chat. Oh, the deadlines. That's a very good question, of course. So yeah, we'd really love to see at least the first draft next week, so we can already try putting, at least put in information you have and upload it to the cloud or send it to 3D Concrete email. And we will also consult with the University of Latvia with these posters, and they might ask some questions for your team. So it's one of the ways how you can also communicate, or we can all efficiently communicate with the other jury members already, if they see some things that they have a question about. So the quicker you put in information, the better. At least you can put in your team name and your team leader. So that's already an idea. And otherwise, yeah, if you don't have the software, probably let us know early that you will upload just the pictures, and here are the sizes. If you, yeah, I think you should be able to, yeah, you can get the proportion by dividing the smallest number with the biggest, and then you have this 16 by 9, etc. What else? Yeah, I think no, I definitely covered most of the items. And the next week is, let's check. So it's 18th of, and the very important thing, there will be one meeting which will not be on Tuesday. So on 28th of January, we are having guest lecturer from Perry. It will be on Friday, and it will be, I think, at 4 o'clock. We already have the event up. Let's check it. 3D Creative Tuesdays. I think it was at 4 o'clock. Yeah, here we go. So it's at 4 p.m. Latvian time, January of 28th. If you saw the Dr. Fabian Meyer-Brotz, I hope I pronounced it correctly. He's from Perry Germany, I think, and they have worked already with 3D construction printing on a larger scale. So there might be a chance that for the follow-up next year's competition, we will have access to some larger partners and maybe also ways of testing your designs. So yeah, that's something. It might be useful for this competition too, because in the question and answer section we can go through your designs which you already have submitted. But otherwise, it will be a great presentation just in itself to see what are the current possibilities and limitations of 3D printing, not only in Latvia, but if you look more globally in Europe. So yeah, I think no we have covered. Oh, we have a lot of comments. I didn't see them. Let's see. Can you also please send us the VVG file of the topography?
Basically, yeah, Katrin asked if we have the DVG for the site plan, as I understood. So I don't know, I think we had some files, but we have to check if it was.
We can actually check right now quickly. So the
Yeah.
official part of the meetup is, I guess, over. There are no more urgent questions, but the link to the folder with all the materials was near the competition here. And one that I will check if there is it. That could be that they only sent PDF, right?
Yeah, I remember some teams had the images in like PDF, so yeah, maybe that was the only thing we gave.
Let's see. DVJs, IFC, JPEG. Yeah, it's a PDF. Okay, I'm writing down that we need to ask the University of Latvia, so they send us the DVJ files.
Yeah, so they can put in their models already in the right scale.
Well, I hope you all are super healthy and motivated. You don't have that many, like each. So currently we are in phase 2. Yeah, some people have joined today which haven't been in the previous ones. So just to remind you, we just finished the first phase, which is submitting the files for 3D print. And I suppose Juris is here. He can say if he actually has received from all of the students files in good quality. So now that we are in the second phase where we designed this draft poster, the third phase will be even shorter. It will be confirming 3D concrete print capability. It will also involve, if Omicron allows us, an excursion to the 3D printing laboratory. And the fourth phase will be printing the scale model in the final quality and in full size, but we might need to change scale for the teams who had 25 meters long benches, because 2-meter sprints would be probably out of the budget. But we will probably offer different scale options. And for the last week, we are just doing this final print, but the poster it would be nice if we can have them ready earlier. So yeah, thank you all for jumping in. We have already Erwin's here writing a comment.
He wrote a good point that in China it's a bit different.
He wrote about China, yeah, it's really. Also in Egypt, I think they also read from left to right. Yeah.
So like in
Europe, when you work with global audience, it's quite important. Yeah. So yeah, I think I'm really happy we got so quickly through today. We have some extra time to actually work on the designs. Cheers.
Yeah. Okay. See you. Bye bye.
Goodbye.